our guest is going to be Emily Parekh. Emily, you can say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Emily. Thank you for
Emily's
doing this.
audio.
And everyone, please know that the New York Times for Kids special section is available only on our website, digimentors.group. Look for today's section in Professor Rooks's episode. Click on there. You'll find the PDF. You can download it till noon Eastern time if you're watching this live, or before noon Eastern on Sunday. But this is a conversation, daddy and daughter, about the New York Times for Kids. The cover is Spring is Here. Sink your teeth in is the topic. So I'm going to hand it over to both of you. Thank you very much, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next Sunday.
Before you leave, Sree, I just want to make sure Emily's audio is coming through as well. Emily, can you say hi?
Hi.
Yes, it is. It is. You can be a little louder. Both your dad and I are too loud, but you can be a little louder.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sree. Appreciate it. And we will be taking over the show. We're going to be focusing on the New York Times for Kids. And as a reminder, as Sree mentioned, you can download the special section, the PDF, from our website. If you go to digimentors.group and look for the New York Times read along, you can find the show with Noliwe Rooks and find the PDF there. Here's the ticker for that. But you have to download it before noon Eastern time. So let's make sure you do that. So I will go ahead and, Emily, you can step back just a little bit. I'm going to turn the camera on her. There we go. Whoops. Need to switch the camera. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. That's all right. Let's see. Facing front. There we go. That should do it. And let's see if that works. There we go. There's Emily. And I will turn off this camera, and we'll turn the discussion to the New York Times for Kids. And I will ask folks in the audience to make sure to tell me if I have any issues with the audio before we start. And let's see who is commenting already. We have, let's see, and Ron Thomas said it's a master class talking about the read-along, and Carrie Douglas said, thank you. Dr. Tachi said, fantastic conversation. Thank you, Emily, for keeping yourself in frame. Rose said, fascinating and provocative conversation. And Dr. Tachi said, hi, Emily. So, Emily, can you say hi back to Dr. Tachi?
Hi.
Dr. Tachi's in Florida and is a previous guest on the show. Deborah Kerr says, welcome, Miss Emily. Happy to be here for your second hosting of the New York Times read along. Your grandmother says hi.
Hi.
Hi, Emily, my dear granddaughter. Ron Thomas says hi. This is so cool. So let's go ahead and talk about the issue. So this is the spring issue. It says spring is here. And some of the specific pieces, what you need to know about measles, stuck in space, the perfect fruit to eat, how people immigrate, and hey, adults, hands off our Pokemon cards. So let's see what it has. It starts off with, and they don't usually do this, a full-size crossword. Are you ready for a challenge? Try your hand at this full-size crossword made by kids. So that is interesting, and they have an interview with the kids behind the puzzle. But this I thought was interesting, Emily. The first, their news article, for children of undocumented immigrants, everything feels uncertain. What do you have any familiarity with immigration, undocumented immigrants? Has that come up in school at all?
No.
How many kids, not so much undocumented, but in your class, how many kids do you think are from immigrant families? They're people with diverse backgrounds, for example.
I mean, like, I don't know.
But think about your friends, right? Like Izzy.
Yeah.
Izzy, her mom is Filipina,
Yeah.
right? Jocelyn's mom is what background? Korean. There are other people who are Asian, Latino, I think, as well, right? It's a pretty good mix, I think, in school. What about measles? 4 things to know about measles.
Oh,
What do you think of that?
ew.
Ew.
What does it even do?
Well, measles is a disease that we thought we had gotten rid of. It used to be very common, but there have been vaccines, and people have been taking vaccines for years. But lately, people are starting to not get vaccines.
Right.
What's your thought on vaccines?
They're good, but like, I don't like the shot, but like, they're good.
But you're pro-vaccine,
Yeah.
and it's partly because we're pro-vaccine as a family,
Well, yeah.
right?
But like, I don't want to get measles and die. So.
We don't want. Okay, so you heard that from Emily. She doesn't want to get measles and die. I think that's a good point. One thing when we had COVID, we did get the COVID vaccines as soon as we could. All of us did. You got them as well. You didn't enjoy it very much, though.
Well, yeah. But like,
Yeah. But who enjoys vaccines, right?
yeah.
Let's see what else. There's an article, a tiny story here, $450. What is that story about, Emily?
What the Nintendo Switch 2 was supposed to cost, but because Trump announced tariffs, then on like the things that on like the stuff from like whatever country I guess Nintendo's from.
Japan.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of obvious. But they need to pay money, so it's gonna cost more.
And what do you think? I mean, you have a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I don't need the second one.
You don't need the second one, but do you think that would hurt sales? Do you think people will buy fewer?
Probably
Yeah. Are tariffs helping or hurting? You think?
hurting.
Hurting. Economic analysis from Emily. Here's a big spread here. The complicated, confusing process of immigration. So this looks at both people entering with documents and people entering without documents, and kind of they have to get a visa, and they put this all out. I'll say, what do you think when you look at this chart? Even if you don't know much about immigration, what do you pick up from this chart?
Oh, it kind of shows you how to immigrate somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's saying like how you can do it. Like try this at home, kids.
Well,
Immigration.
not quite try this at home, but it's more. Immigration is in the news. It's trying to explain to kids, what people have to go through to get a visa, to get citizenship, to go through the whole process. It also talks about what is deportation. Have you heard of deportation in the news about people getting deported?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been just recently there was a thing in the news where a family who's I think the mom and dad may have been undocumented. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but their 2-year-old child who was born in the States was deported as well, and they were a U.S. citizen.
Oh. I mean, they shouldn't have really been deported, but where would they have gone if their parents were deported, but they weren't?
That's a good point. You know what? In the first Trump administration, when people were coming across the border, they were separating kids from their parents.
Why?
That's a good question. One of the things that Sree says often is that the cruelty is the point. That the Trump administration has been cruel from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And they kept people in like detention centers, immigrants. Why? That's a good question. That's still something I've not figured out. Here's an article about 286 days in space. These are astronauts, and this is actually like a graphic novel that they've shown it. That what happened when 2 astronauts went into space for 9 days and got stuck there for 9 months. What do you think about showing the news as a graphic novel? Do you read graphic novels?
Not really, but
You have in the past, though.
yeah, but I don't really read that many graphic novels.
No.
But it'd probably make it easier to understand.
Yeah. Do you think this article as a graphic novel is more interesting than, for example, this article on children of undocumented?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need to read that.
You didn't read the undocumented one. Are you more likely to read this?
Yeah,
Why?
because the pictures.
Pictures. I think it's a good time to do a shout out for the graphic history of hip hop. I'm like,
Oh
can you
my
get that
God.
from that? Well, yes, but it's a graphic novel, and I actually have a picture of you reading it. This is the graphic history of hip hop that Walter Grayson and Tim Fielder did. You actually looked through this one day, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Are you displaying the pages now?
yeah.
Right. Well, graphic novels are easier to read, as you just said a few minutes ago. What about this? Coming soon to a fruit bowl near. That's okay, Emily. Coming soon to a fruit bowl near you.
Yeah.
This is a thing of combining fruits, right?
They've existed for a long time.
What's they?
Cotton candy grapes.
Cotton candy grapes. Do you like cotton candy grapes?
They're not as good as the normal grapes.
They're not as good as normal grapes.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. They're like too sweet.
Cotton candy grapes are too sweet. So you
They're
can
weird.
combine different fruits. This talks about picking the perfect parents as fruit, mash them up, not literally, plant the seeds, taste and tweak, and time to grow. But it's not always a good thing to do. Is that what you're saying? You don't. They don't always get it right.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know. It would be kind of fun because you could just mix up random fruits and see what it makes.
So you're a bit of a experimenter in the kitchen yourself, right? You like to mix up different drinks.
Maybe.
Maybe that's a yes.
But whenever I get them, you're always like, "Oh, can I have one?"
What
So
to try
like,
your drink?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, if I like made something, you're like, "Oh, can I have some?"
Yeah. Well, I want to try it.
Yeah, and then after you try it, you're like, "Can I have a glass?"
What kind of drinks have you mixed?
I made like a Shirley Temple one time, and then you and Mom started drinking all of the like juice that was in the maraschino cherries.
Yeah.
So
Are there other things you've tried to mix in a drink? What kind of juices do you put together?
I don't really put together. You put together juice.
I do. I mix Fresca and fruit juice. Uh, but you've done what? Pineapple juice, right? And
Yeah, that was just so that it would look cool.
oh, so you do that with friends, right? Don't you do? Don't you take? Okay, so you put some drinks together and then take
This
pictures.
is off.
Okay, so we've been shut down, folks. Apparently, Emily's drink mixing is off topic, so we'll need to get back to the paper. Is that what you want to do? The centerfold is
Yeah.
fruit. What fruit to eat
See,
now?
their sweetness is like all the way over here.
Cotton candy
That's
grapes?
not normal.
Okay, so this chart is looking at a number of different fruits, and it's rating them on a scale of sweet and tart. We have strawberries, kiwi berries, nectarines, but Emily went straight to the cotton candy grapes with the sweetness level all the way to the top, and the tart pretty low. And you said that's too sweet,
Yeah.
right? What else?
Not normal.
What else do you see on this? So there's some fruits on this side that I think are strawberries, kiwi berries, nectarines, pineapples, things that are familiar. But no, but these are now the mixes, I think, right? Cotton candy grapes, not pomegranates, but honey mango, honey crisp, they're normal, but tangelos,
Cherry. What is that?
what is that? Can you read that? What does that say?
Winter is citrus season, so while much of the country is shivering, California and Florida are bursting with fruit. Tangerine is part grapefruit and part tangerine. They're juicier, sweeter, and easier to peel than your average orange, with the tiniest whiff of bitterness. The name comes from pomelo, another citrus often crossed with tangerine.
So tangelos, I've never heard of that before. You hadn't either, right?
Mhm.
And honey mangoes.
Honey mangoes are natural mango.
That's a regular thing, right? What's the pro tip? Can you read the pro tip at the bottom?
In India, mangoes are a symbol of friendship. Share one with a pal. Give me a mango.
But you're not my pal, are you? Are you going to admit to being my pal
I want a mango.
on screen? Are you my pal?
No.
She's not. So she doesn't get a mango, folks.
I'm gonna ask somebody else.
Yeah, someone else. Ask a pal. Black cherries, pluots. Pluots are a mix.
Plums and apricots.
Yeah. Have you had them before?
No.
No. Watermelons, mission figs. But this center chart, can you figure that? Can you explain what this is?
This is when the like different fruits are ripe. Like I think
Yeah,
because like honey mango is May to July. Ooh,
almost
um,
almost May. Yeah,
yeah, and then like tangelos are December to April plant. I mean watermelons are June to September.
yeah.
Mission figs are like September to October. It's just a bunch of fruits and like when they're ripe.
Interesting. Um, Dr. Tachi says one thing about cotton candy grapes is that the sweetness will be consistent. Sometimes it's hit or miss with regular green grapes.
That's true.
Yeah, you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your earbud coming out? You can take that down.
So,
That's all right. It's just me talking, so
oh,
don't worry about that. So that's an interesting comment, and we'll take that off.
Pawpaw.
What's that?
Pawpaw.
What's a pawpaw? Can you tell me what a pawpaw is?
Oh, it's like a lot of people aren't familiar with them, but and you won't find them in the supermarket. But in the Midwest or East Coast, they grow in the wild and sometimes we found at farmers market.
So,
But
slow
their
it down.
flowers,
Read a little slower. Read a little slower.
a lot of people aren't familiar with them, and you won't find them in the supermarket. But in the Midwest or the East Coast, they grow in the wild and sometimes be found at farmers market.
Those are
They're
pawpaws.
just like I don't know. I guess they smell bad, according to that.
Interesting. I've never heard of them before myself.
Me neither.
So that's interesting. All right, let's turn the page. Let's see what else is in the New York Times for Kids. The opinion section. I like looking at the opinion section. First, just scan through. What is the age range for most of the people they've quoted there? Oh, and we're saying, so Dr. Tachi is saying it's hard to hear you. You might need to move your hair. Dr. Tachi, is it easier to hear Emily now? Emily, say something.
Something.
Of course, she said something. Hopefully that's a little bit better, but we'll keep
It's a
going.
bad angle.
You're right, it is a bad angle. Where do you want it? Lower? Higher?
I don't know.
You tell me. We'll look at the paper. So
They're all 9 and 10.
they're all 9 and 10. Okay. And so, Dr. Tachi, let me know whether it's the volume is better or if anyone else watching. We rely on your feedback to make sure that things are going well. So what are some of the opinions that people have here? Can you read a few? Just pick one at random.
Have you ever had a gross school lunch? Well, I have. Yeah. Our school lunch has 3 options: a sandwich and 2 other foods, like bland burritos and weird rice. In my opinion, we should have a fourth option that is good food, like pizza. Kids should be happy. Kids will be happier and less hungry.
All right, so they're talking about
We have a lot
sandwich
of options.
and foods and bland burritos, weird rice, but they want pizza instead. What is your what are the options around at lunch for you?
We have a lot of options. Most of them aren't that good, but there's like So I mean, we actually no, we I think we got rid of that. We have orange chicken, but they changed it like for some reason, and now it's really bad.
Do they have healthy food at school?
They they do. I think there's like a salad bar, but the stuff in there has been there for like a long time.
Do people eat the healthy food?
No,
No.
but they're what like we're required to get it, so it's kind of just wasting food. Like if you're not gonna eat it.
Now you bring your lunch from home.
Yeah, I
usually.
haven't bought lunch since fourth grade.
Yeah, which is generally better, right? And you also don't have to wait in line to get it when you get to
Yeah.
the cafeteria.
Like if you're the last class, then you'll spend 15 minutes in like if it's a good thing, you'll spend 15 minutes in the lunch line, and our lunch is 30 minutes.
And what's interesting is that, and I volunteered in your school once in the cafeteria. When you go into the cafeteria, you have to sit at your table. You're not allowed to get up.
Yeah, we're not, or else
Right.
Miss Semesti's gonna yell at us.
Someone's going to yell at you. You walk through the cafeteria line if you didn't bring your food, and then you go sit at your table. And then if you need something, you have to raise your hand, and someone will come over and bring you plasticware, napkins. Um, when I was volunteering, we helped the little kids open their juice boxes or yogurts or whatever. If you need to go to the bathroom, you need to ask permission. And
Yeah, I need to take a boy. Even though the bathroom, you can literally take a bathroom from the.
you take a boy with you to the bathroom.
Well, I mean, if you're a boy, you take a girl.
To the bathroom?
Yeah, but you can see the bathroom.
Not in the bathroom.
No.
They wait outside.
They wait outside, but I don't know. But you can see the bathroom from the cafeteria.
Yeah.
So that's not really.
Because they don't want people hanging out in the bathroom during lunch.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and they have to limit it.
We want to eat. What do you think we're gonna?
Well, I think that they're worried about what people are going to do in the bathrooms. If they're gonna, I mean,
One of the
they could get into fights. One of them was vandalized, really?
Yeah, the sixth grade girls' bathroom. I think it got fixed, which is good because that was the best bathroom.
What do you mean by vandalized? What happened?
I don't know. Somebody wrote on something.
Do you know what they wrote?
No, I wasn't the person who vandalized.
Not that you know, no, but so no one said what they wrote. You don't.
No, it was just it has come to my attention that the sixth grade girls' bathroom has been something. I don't know.
Interesting. There are two more articles left. Or do you want to look at a few more opinions?
Sure.
Let's see what else they have.
I think kids should have pets to keep them company when they are home alone.
Which one is that? Okay.
I think kids should have pets to keep them company when they are home alone. Some kids have to walk home after school, and there's no one home when they get. A pet would keep them company. And if you have allergies, you could get a fish and have a conversation with it. They're great listeners.
Well, there are several things we can talk about with that opinion piece. Where would you like to start, Emily?
You should give me a ride.
This has nothing to do with a ride to school.
Yes, it does. When they walk home.
Okay, they walk.
They have nobody there.
They walk home. What about the pets angle? Which of the various?
Get me a pet.
I was going to say which of the various pet references you want to go to. So you want a pet, but this is about having no one home when you're alone, and I'm always home when you're.
That's happened
when you come home.
I came home and then I needed to unlock the door.
I don't think you've ever come home alone, Emily.
Yes,
or once,
I have.
maybe once.
One time, a few times, you have been at some business trip and mom was at the grocery store.
Oh, mom was coming. Okay, but very rarely. Usually I'm home.
Yeah.
Or mom's home.
But you should still get me a pet.
You still want a pet. What about the pet that you did have? What pet did you have?
My fish.
Your fish? A beta fish, right?
Yeah.
You had it from second grade to fourth grade, or something like that during the pandemic. What did you used to do with your fish? Do you remember?
No.
You used to read to it?
Oh yeah, I used to teach him math.
And you taught your fish math.
He learned 1 + 1.
He learned 1 + 1. How did he learn 1 + 1?
I wrote on his tank.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's healthy.
It's healthy.
To keep them not bored.
And he was.
No, I was in second grade.
You were in second grade. It was cute. You have to admit. But yes, I know you want a pet. You did a slideshow with how many slides?
100.
100
that
slides?
was in fourth grade.
Yeah. Did it work?
No.
No. We didn't get you a pet, did we? And we have a couple other comments. Your grandmother says, Emily, great presentation. So what do you say to Grandma?
Thank you.
And then Walter Grayson is saying, the eternal debate, should we have a pet? He acknowledges that that's an issue. And Deborah Kerr says, thank you, Emily. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate it. We're almost at the end of the section. You want one more opinion?
Sure.
What's another one you want to look at? Pick one.
Imagine. Wait, what?
Just pick one to start reading.
I read that kids in New York got to go to a tasting kitchen where chefs serve them food stuff. They give their opinions, and 75% of kids like something it's put in school. I think we should do that too. School lunch is more likely to be eaten if kids choose it. That's true.
It's true. That's another the second school lunch. When just looking at randomly, we looked at three or four, already two opinions about school
Oh, these
lunches.
are all in the same class.
They're in. Oh, they're from Robin Carrier's fourth grade class from Jessup Elementary School in Cheyenne, Wyoming. You're right, Emily. So this is good.
That's why they're all 9 and 10.
They're all 9 and 10. But one of the things that we didn't
They do
realize,
not with 9.
they're not always from the same class. This is unusual, I think. Usually it's a big mix. So this is a little explainer. So this is the importance of looking at a page and reading all the way to the bottom, looking at the notes. Read that note for us, will you?
For this issue of the New York Times for Kids, we did a virtual visit with students in Cheyenne, Wyoming. My colleague
Laura.
and I talked about I talked to the students over video chat about the difference between a reported article and an opinion. Then we asked them to write their own opinion. They wrote about all kinds of subjects, including keeping wild animals as pets, signing your books, and catching leprechauns. Here are
Short excerpts from that. So they talked about the writing. What's the have you written the difference? Have you had different writing assignments where you write about opinions and
Yeah.
have you written?
We used to call them opinion essays. Now we call them argument essays because it sounds more professional. So basically, you're like given a topic and then you need to choose which side or
Okay.
something, or like you're given like we did one about technology where you choose a technology and say if it's good or bad.
Is this the one you wrote about AI?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say about AI?
I said that generative AI was bad
Why?
because, well, I mean, my specific claim was bad for like children because it can support like biases that don't exist, like or like stereotypes. It can wait. Let me think. It can cause them to make bad decisions, and it can like I don't remember. I think it was like
Well, you talked about people using AI, right? You had some examples of people developing a relationship with AI,
yeah.
right? Wasn't there an example of someone who thought they were talking to a therapist, but they weren't?
Yeah,
Right?
that was the cause them to make that decision.
Yeah. And so, in terms of other writing assignments, you're working on a creative project with several friends.
Yeah, but we kind of forgot about it.
No, you haven't worked on it in a while,
We
but
haven't worked on it in like a month.
okay. But what is this project?
Well, we were supposed to be writing a book.
Yeah.
We're 87 pages in,
Yeah.
and we have like 25,000 words, I think.
So you and your friends are using Google Docs to write a book. You also, in addition to writing the book, you have a separate document that kind of maps out the plot and like what you want to do with the book, right?
Well, we have the actual like document, we have the planning document, and then we have a Canva where we do like the things that would need like drawing.
Can you give us a quick synopsis of the story of the plot?
So I can just say basically what the like summary
Yeah.
would be. Sage Galagos ran away when it was basically so Sage ran away because her dad was taken by the government because the government is bad, like in the book, and then because he like was wearing a cross and that's not allowed. So those and then so he was executed, and then her mom like just left. So then she ran away into the forest, and then she met Kai, and Kai was kicked out because they came out as non-binary, and then their parents were mad, so they kicked them out, and so then they went into the forest, and then they met Sage, and then they both like did stuff for a bit, and then they found a rebel group who's rebelling against the government, and yeah, they're rebelling against the government now.
Yeah.
And doing stuff.
This is a book that you're writing with your friends.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I think it's cool.
I don't know. It's like we haven't worked on it in a while.
You'll get back to it. I'm sure. A couple other comments that have come in. Just want to bring in Ron Thomas said everyone should have a pet. Oh boy, more people saying you should have a pet. I don't want her to have a pet. We've gotten away from that. So yeah, Ron, you made another friend, just so you know. Um, at Here we go. This article: can't get your hands on the newest Pokemon card. Blame grown-ups. This is you haven't been like so into Pokemon, but a little bit, right?
Not
You looked
really.
a couple years ago. You looked at like just a little bit.
Not
You're
really.
familiar with them.
I know what they are, but
Yeah.
like I'm not like.
So this is something about. Let's see. I think that the adults bought more toys last year for the first time. Adults bought more toys for themselves than they did for kids. The trend is so common. There's even a name for it: kidulting. And sure, hobbies are fine, except now in the case of Pokemon, grown-ups collecting is becoming an so extreme, it's elbowing kids out. That's interesting.
That's mean.
That's kind of interesting. It's kind of mean, kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Let's see. The last page is actually an ad from the New York Times. What's that quote? Can you read that?
People should stop hunting tigers for fun and for medicine. Imagine if you were a tiger free in the wild and then boom, you were shot for your fur. How would you feel?
And that was by Joseph T., 10 years old. And this is an illustration of a tiger by Sophia, who is also 10, Sophia G. Any thoughts on hunting tigers?
It's bad.
Yeah,
Hunting tigers is bad.
hunting tigers is definitely bad. So this, I wanted to remind folks, and I added the name to the screen.
Oh,
This was,
so famous.
you're a little bit more famous than you were before. But Emily Parekh was our guest today. This is the last Sunday of the month where the New York Times has a special section called the New York Times for Kids. And Emily can display that real quick. It says at the very top, editor's note, this section, one second, should not be read by grown-ups. But of course, we read it and go through it because there's a lot of interesting content. That's the cover with a number of strawberries. As a reminder, you can see the ticker on the bottom. You can get the PDF of the New York Times for Kids. Emily is doing a good job pointing to it. You can get a PDF for free from our website until noon Eastern time today. So definitely encourage you to check that out. I shared links earlier in the chat. Click on that link and download before we take it down. We do it by special permission from the New York Times to share that with you. So, but that has been our conversation with Emily. Emily, any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Not really.
No last thoughts?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if I can turn the camera around. It's a little bit trickier with the way they've changed the app. There we go. So this is Emily and me, and we want to look that way. That's where the camera is. Let me get you in the shot. This is Emily and me saying goodbye. Thank you for joining us. A little lower, a little higher?
No, a little lower. I'm sitting on the tiptoes.
Oh, I didn't know you were sitting on your tiptoes. I'm sorry, Emily. How's that? Emily and I saying goodbye. Hopefully you'll join us next week. And as Sree mentioned before we signed off, I'm going to be the guest next week. I'll be talking about what I've learned about mental health. Well, would you want
a conversation about mental health?
Yes, that's the show that I produce twice a month. I'll be talking about what I've learned over the last year. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I was recently diagnosed with adult ADHD, so I'll be sharing about that as well. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you joining us and sticking around for this last half hour. We will see you next week.